It is the annihilation of the vasanas here and now that is considered or termed liberation by the wise. And we've talked about how what we need to do is begin to dial down our reactivity to the phenomenal world, to tune up the mind, to keep the mind intensely introverted while we are functioning in the world, not letting the mind extrovert into the sense world. You see, you perceive, all the data coming in, just let it pass through. Let it pass through. This is a practice we prepare for in our meditation seat, but can only be practiced in the world. Let's review again. Very important point. What is a vasana? A vasana is an impression left in the unconscious as the result of previously performed egoistic actions. We perform an action, then after the fact we have what's called chintya, which is after the fact mental rumination. Oh, this was so wonderful, I want to do it again. Or, oh, this was terrible, I'll never do that again. I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. That leaves this impression in the unconscious. A vasana has two powers. Veiling power of Varana Shakti. I have the non-apprehension of myself as Brahman. The second power, Vikshepa Shakti, the projecting or the agitating power. I think I'm a person and there's a goal out there. And that goal only takes one of two forms. I either need to fix the world and then I'll be happy, or I need to fix me and then I'll be happy. And the third element is struggle. Oh, I got to get someplace. Goes by many names. Vancha, wanting. Spriha, longing. Kama, craving. Krishna, thirsting. Kartavya, obligatory actions. I gotta do this. That's all imagination projected by the mind as the result of the veiling power. How do I know I'm under the influence of vasana? I have the clear apprehension. I am Brahman. This world comes about like a dream. It's all okay. No worries. That's how I know my mind is free from vasana. How do I know I have vasana operating? I feel like a person. If I feel like a person, I'm deluded. If I'm under the throes of delusion, the mind will always say, resolve the struggle of ego. If I can wake up enough to realize, oh, I'm deluded, the antidote for ignorance is knowledge. Stop. Tune up the mind. Introvert your attention. Notice the noticer. Oh, that's right. I am that space of consciousness. Chidananda Rupaham. I'm of the form of bliss consciousness. Shivoham, Shivoham. I am Shiva. I am auspicious. All right. And refresh my mind again. What verse you said? 280 something?
286.
286. Will you help us out, please, Puneet?
Sure. Nidraya lokavartayaha shabdorepi vismritih kvachinna vasaram datva chintayatman atmani. Without giving even the slightest chance to forget the Atman because of sleep, unawareness, matters of the world or sense objects reflect steadily upon the self in the mind.
Okay, so when he says, never forgetting your remembrance of, your awareness of the self, even in sleep, this does not mean stay up all night. Sleep here means inadvertentness. It means I have forgetting. So don't be forgetful of yourself. And there was sleep. What was the second idea?
Matters of the world or sense objects.
Yes. So people think, well, I've got to be worried about this. I've got to be upset. My God, this is the stock market. Or I've got to be worried about this. It's Trump. I've got to be worried about this. It's the landlord. You know, we think all of this stuff has to affect us. Now, this is not accomplished by shutting yourself in a room. You cannot be free by avoiding the world. You've got to let all the sense perceptions pass through. It's like a dream. It's all just going to pass by in front of you. It's all temporary. But you just watch the movie. You never change. Constantly keeping quiet thought. This we call the jnana vritti, the thought of knowledge. Or it's called jnana abhyas, the practice of knowledge. Keeping this foremost. The mind has a reaction. Oh, what is that? Let it go. To whom did this occur? To me. Who am I? That was Ramana Maharshi's great practice. She gave to us all. Made it so simple. Koham. Who am I? I hear the sound of the traffic. To whom did it occur? To me. Who am I? Oh, yes. Always bringing your mind back to the self. Not just for 20 minutes or 45 minutes. All day long. All day long. Any thoughts on this? Jim, I'll be too spaced out. I'll never be able to work or do anything like that. Shankara says, don't worry about it.
I am constantly saying to myself the last week or so, throughout the day, who cares? So many of my thoughts that rise my mind.
Yes.
I said it I realized it a couple of years ago in silent meditation when I first started, but I'm just now doing it constantly. And there is so much in my mind that is just BS. So much of it is just BS. It's just about disregarding the thoughts.
You are an ordinary man.
I understand.
Well, welcome to the human condition.
I understand.
All right, next verse.
Mata pitror malo bhutam malam masamayam vapuhu tyaktva chandala vadduram brahmi bhuya kriti bhava. Shunning to a safe distance like an outcast, this body which has come from the impurities of the parents and which itself is constituted of flesh and its impurities, assert your divine Brahmic nature and realize the fulfillment of your life.
Yes. So Shankara here indicates the two kinds of practice that we have. We have negation, neti neti, and we have assertion. In the first part of the verse, he says, shun, here meaning cast off your identification with this body. It's a car. It's all it is. It is not you. Don't get particularly involved with its issues. Treat it like you would your car. Rotate the tires, put gas in it, change the oil. Take a shower, wear clean clothes, eat, sleep moderately, stay away from intoxicants. Stay conscious. And constantly keep your mind focused on, I am Brahman. I am that space of consciousness. I am the witness. Not just assert it, but endeavor to experience it. Next verse.
Ghatakasham mahakasha ivatmanam paratmani vilapya khanda bhavena tushnim bhava sada mune. Merging the finite ego in the supreme self, like the pot space in the infinite space, by meditating on their identity, be forever peaceful, O sage.
Yes. So we have Gatakash and Mahakash. Akasha means space. Gata here is a pot. So here we have the water glass. We have water glass space. We have room space. My famous magic trick. Watch the space. Did I move space? No. I moved the glass. Wait a minute, there's the glass space. Gotta put it back in the glass. No. And what happens if I break the glass? The water spills in my lap. No, the cup space, the pot space merges with the infinite space. Actually, nothing really happens. You are not in the body. The body is in you. It only seems like I am an individual. Thin out the mind. Introvert your attention. Look behind your eyes. Notice the noticer. Do you see a person in there? No. Just the vast empty space. of consciousness. Understanding that that is the substratum of the whole universe. Our bodies are different, our minds are different, our intellects are different, but the conscious being illuminating my equipment, the conscious being in you illuminating your equipment, they are the same. It's the substratum of the whole universe. Next one.
Swaprakasham adhishtanam swayam bhuya sadatmana brahmanda api pindadam tyajyata malabhandavat. Yourself becoming the self-luminous Brahman, the sole substratum of all things, reject the macrocosm and microcosm like two unclean parcels.
Yes. So the self-luminous Brahman, Swaprakash, what do we mean by that? How do you know that you are you? We know everything in the phenomenal world through what we call the triple factor, Triputi. For example, I, subject, through seeing, means of knowledge, no candle, object of knowledge. I, the subject, through hearing, means of knowledge, no traffic noise, object of knowledge. I can go through all the five senses that way. I, the subject, through manas, mind, no feelings, object of knowledge. I, the subject, through buddhi, intellect, no thought, object of knowledge. And I, the subject, light all the objects, all the emotions, all the thoughts. I am the illuminator of them with the light of awareness. But how do you know you are you? You do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself. Yet you are not unknown. The equipments do not know it. Yet I know I am. I am self-effulgent, Swaprakash, self-luminous. I am the knower. I is the means of knowledge. I is that which is known, never as an object. And it's constant. The self is difficult to realize, not because it's far away or in some other mind state, but because of its profound ordinariness. It's so here that we miss it. It's myself. It's always there, shining as I. And you find out if it's birthless, changeless, deathless, infinite, eternal, without qualities, without characteristics, without form, without taint, illuminating the past, present, and future, illuminating the gross, the subtle, and the causal, illuminating the waking, dream, and deep sleep state. It's always there, shining as I. Next verse.
Chidatmani sadanande deharudha aham dhiyam niveshya lingagatmutya vijya kevalo bhav sarvada. Shifting your identification, which is now fixed in the body, to the Atman, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Rejecting the subtle body, may you become ever the pure self alone.
So right now, my identity is fixed with the body, or the body plus the subtle body. I think I'm my body, or I think I'm my feelings, my thoughts, my reactions. Shift your identity to yourself, which is existence, Sat. Pure awareness, Chit. And bliss absolute, the very source of all happiness. Ananda. Go looking for this stupid little ego self, and it falls. It's like a shadow. It's not real. But something there is, a real self that's always really there. If I think I'm a person, I'm deluded. Reject any personal sense of self. Keep turning your attention to who you really are. Next verse.
Yatraisha jagadabhaso darpananta puram yatha tad brahmaham iti gyatva kritakrityo bhavishyasi. That in which there is the illusion of the universe, just as the city in the mirror, that Brahman you are. Knowing this, you will experience that fulfillment of life.
So, this universe appears in Brahman like the city in a mirror. So, let's say you drive up to the top of Twin Peaks and you have a pocket mirror and you face west, hold up the mirror, and you look in the mirror and you can see Market Street and the trolleys going back and forth. And turn the mirror and there's the financial district. You turn the mirror a little bit, there's South Market, and you see the entire city in the mirror. Oh, San Francisco, so beautiful. I'm going to pull it out of the mirror and keep it with me. No. There's no city really in the mirror. It is pratibimba. It's an image. It's a reflection. It only seems to be there. Our metaphor falls short because in order to see the city in the mirror, there has to be an external city to create the reflection. In Brahman, there is nothing needed. The phenomenal world simply arises like the image in a mirror. Don't get caught up in it. It's pretty, interesting, but just mental imagery. Any thoughts? All right, next verse.
Yat satyabhutam nijarupamaadham chida dvayanandam rupam akriyam tadetyamitva puru srijeta shailu shavadveshu mupatma atmanaha. Attaining that which is intrinsically one's existence, which is absolute knowledge and bliss, non-dual, which is beyond all forms and activities, one should cease identifying with his false body, like the actor who relinquishes his dress and makeup.
Yes. So, this wonderful image, the actor seems to be the villain in the play, or seems to be the hero in the play, seems to be the king in the play, seems to be the beggar in the play. But she walks off stage and she takes off the costume. Great meditation. Everything about you is drag. That's all it is. None of it touches you. Your job, your station in life, your relationships, your health or lack thereof, your mental states or lack thereof, your opinions, your learning. It's all drag. It's all just costuming. Wigs and makeup. It's all it is. But someone there is, something there is, who is a conscious, sentient being. It's you, who is Vishuddha, extremely pure. Never touched. Ever. And one of the things I say to students is part of what keeps the false self in place is the stories we tell ourselves about who we think we are. Almost always there's stories from our family of origin. I have had a traumatic childhood, or I come from this kind of family, or I have this particular disability, or I went through this experience. And in my mind, and you can tell it because the student will keep repeating the story. They'll tell you the same story. They'll give you the same information over and over and over again. So as a teacher, I go, oh, that's where they're identified. So watch your mind. Watch when you repeat a story over and over and over. Stop it. It's not real. Let it go. May be true about your body, but it's not real. And it's not true about you. Any thoughts on this?
Easier said than done.
Yes. I always think of what Arjuna says at the end of the 6th chapter of Gita, where he says, "Oh, Krishna, controlling the mind is like trying to control the wind." And Krishna says, "Yup." But through practice, it can be done.
I like the line in the Mandukya. I've shared with you before. Yeah. And the mind is only brought under control by unoppressed effort. It's like emptying the ocean drop by drop with a blade of grass. Yeah.
And the way you ultimately bring the mind under control is to quit believing it. Not by controlling it thought by thought.
Realize it's nothing but imagination. That's what I've come to truly believe. The mind is. Yeah.
All right, next verse.
We start a new section.
Okay. You've all given up your vasanas.
The perceived I factor false.
Oh, groovy.
Sarvatmana drishyam idam rishaiva naivahamartha shanikatva darshanat janam yaham sarvam iti pratiti kuto hamade shanikasya siddhet. The objective world is quite unreal. Neither is the ego real, for it is seen to be fleeting. How then can the apparent I know all be true of the ego, etc., which are momentary?
Yes. So here Shankara echoes the Mandukya Upanishad. The objective world is quite unreal. What do we mean by unreal? We mean that it is subject to negation, that it isn't something substantial. It is seen, but not real. Railroad tracks meeting in the distance, seen, but not real. Sun sinking into the ocean, seen, but not real. The dome of the sky painted blue, seen, but not real. So many things in our world are seen, but not real. Physics even tells us there's nothing solid. It's all mostly space and in motion. Just like a dream seems real to the dreamer, so the phenomenal world seems real to the ego identified. It's just a dream.
Jim, I have a question.
Who's that?
This is Vinayak.
Yes, go ahead.
So when we go bang our head on a wall, it's suddenly all real, isn't it?
Say that again.
If we bang our head on a wall, it's real, isn't it?
If a man got hit in a wall.
If we hit our head on a wall, doesn't that feel real?
It feels real, but have you ever had an experience in a dream, for example, where you've been frightened?
Yes.
Is it real?
In the dream it is.
It's a real experience. Vedanta never, ever says you're not having an experience. But upon awakening, all the problems that you had in the dream, let's say you have an anxiety dream and you're trying to solve a problem, or you're being chased, or there's a monster, to the dreamer, they seem real. Upon awakening, I see it was just the fabric of my mind appearing as these images. Vedanta says this world is no different. We never say you're not having an experience. All we're saying is what you think it is not what it appears to be. To the ego, hitting your head on a wall hurts. That's certainly an experience. But it's a dream wall happening to a dream body which is experiencing a dream phantom pain. And none of it touches you. That's the point. Can you catch the nuance in this, Vinayak?
I kind of can and I kind of cannot, because say you hit your head on a wall and you have this intense pain, and then at that time, like maybe for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, there is nothing but that pain. Everything else has disappeared. Everything else is non-existent. The only thing that exists is that pain.
And to whom is this pain occurring?
To me.
Yeah. Have you changed?
No.
No one ever says these experiences are incredibly intense. But you've had very intense dreams. I don't know did you ever take psychedelics when you were a kid?
No.
Oh, that won't work then. I can remember sitting on the toilet being convinced that the toilet paper was breathing. I could see it wave, all just hallucination. But what Vedanta is saying, don't worry about whether or not you hit your head on a wall. It's not going to happen too frequently unless you have this fetish about banging your head against a wall. But what I want you to understand, take it at least to the point that all your interpretation of the problematic world is largely imagination.
Can I add something?
Please.
I just was reading something not long ago, and when William Blake was once questioned, so when you see the sunrise, do you not see a round disk of fire, someone like a guinea? And he replied, oh, no, I see an innumerable company of heavenly ghosts crying, glory, glory, glory is the Lord God Almighty. And, for the longest time, I just wanted to kind of see what he was talking about. And I still don't know how to explain it, but now I understand it when you're saying that it just appears. That's it. Thanks.
Don't worry about it, Vinayak. Set it on the shelf for now. But the thunderous declaration of the scriptures is that the phenomenal world is not solid and separate. Neither is your body. And I get it. Right now, that's at best a philosophical idea for you, not your direct experience. But be open to the possibility that the world you see is not solid at all. Is that good enough for now?
Yes.
And as you thin the mind, the world will thin. As your mind gets thin, the world will be, it gotta feel like you can put your hand right through it. It becomes so unsubstantial. And then the other piece of this verse, the individuality rises and falls. There are times when we're very identified with ego, totally triggered and plugged in. Or other times when we're totally absorbed in an activity. The ego is thinned. That's why I like to use the term jiva bhavana, the attitude or the feeling that I'm a person. The jiva is not a thing, not an entity. It's a kind of thinking. It's more like a hypnotic trance. But you're thinking correctly, which is to doubt, which is to question. Just be open. That's all I ask. Any other questions on this idea?
Jim, this is Lena. I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
So it's sort of related to the hitting your head on the wall. When thoughts are causing immense emotional pain, and like I know that the thought isn't real and I feel distance from it, and yet there's still an experience of emotional discomfort that feels correlated to the thought, even when knowing, at least on some level, that it's not real.
What's the question?
How,
okay.
How is it just that there must still be some attachment, like that there must be some part of the mind that doesn't really, or not the mind, but that there's something still attached to the thought being real? Otherwise there wouldn't be that emotional response to it, or the response will always be there in some way?
Well, first of all, it indicates that you have an aversion to unpleasant emotions.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that anger coming up. Oh, look at that sadness coming up. Isn't that interesting? Arise. They're impermanent. They will pass. What do you do if you eat spicy food and you have an upset stomach?
Lay down for a while, hope it passes.
Yeah, maybe eat some yogurt or take a Tums, and it passes.
Mm-hmm.
Negative emotions are no different.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically all they are. Mental indigestion. The situation is unconducive. When the environmental situation is conducive, the mind is happy. When the condition is non-conducive, the mind is unhappy. That's all there is to it. It's so mechanical and repetitive. I had some olives last night stuffed with hot chili peppers. Oh, they were good. Until, okay, indigestion. Couple spoonfuls of yogurt, it'll pass. No big deal. That's my suggestion. Nothing is a big deal. Is this helpful?
Yeah, I think there's, when you said that about discomfort around negative emotions, it's totally that. And then I think it's also when it feels so clear that it's not in response to anything going on externally. It's just a thought, like, a thought like I'm a bad person, or I did a terrible thing, when that's not related to the actual circumstance. And so it's like there's a permission for emotional experience when it feels like it's in response.
So when you say, oh, I really feel like a terrible person, who feels that? Well, it's just the mind. Nothing but the past maturing. I believed I was a person in the past. I thought I was a good person on Monday. I thought I was a bad person on Tuesday. I'm not a person. Let it go.
Thank you.
And in psychology, part of its methodology is to reframe the world, to change our idea of self from a bad idea of self to a good idea of self. I'm not a terrible person. I'm not worthless. I'm not stupid. I'm not unlovable. I am lovable. I am a worthwhile person. I am a good person. I tell you, ultimately, that's doomed to failure because you're not a person. It's an attempt to secure a phantom.
That's definitely been my experience of those reframings. Yeah. They maybe work for a little while, but they don't last. Yeah.
Get out. Get out. Cast aside this ego. It's not real. This is exactly what Shankara is talking about. Now, where we are in the text presupposes that in your meditation, to some degree, you've begun to get intimations of that vast empty space of consciousness. It's not just an idea. To some degree, you've had some little experience of it. This making sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Then you have something real with which to work. Otherwise, it's just hope. It's just a good idea. It's just philosophy. So the first part of the book is all about this discrimination between the self and the mass. See, that's a negative thought. It's just like the sound of the motorcycle going by. It's gone. It arises, it exists, it goes. Good questions. Any others?
I kind of have a follow-up. So,
please.
When people get one of their members, let's say a hand or an arm amputated, and then they have that phantom pain, and then there are exercises to when they are having pain, you put a mirror in front of your other arm, and then you massage your arm, your existing arm, and then just so your mind thinks you are massaging your, amputated arm. I wonder if there's something like that for that kind of mental, because right now you said something about it's a phantom of, I thought I was a person, therefore I had that kind of trapped sensation.
Well, what we're doing, it's more like when the person is anorexic. And one of the exercises I have heard is you look in the mirror when your body weight is at a reasonable weight, you know, and you look at it and you objectively look at it. No, I'm not fat. This is a normal body. This is a normal body. When I thought when I was anorexic and in my disease, I was skeletal. You have to keep reminding yourself, no, this is normal weight. Looks okay. So right now we're so convinced I'm the body, or I'm the body plus the personality. So we have to go through the manual experience. That doesn't work. You have to go through the actual direct experience. Remember, the antidote to ignorance is knowledge. It's not information here, like I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. No, you got to stop in the space between your thoughts, introvert your attention, and look, who am I? What is my nature? And you see if there's a good person or a bad person there. Now, I'm not sure about your experience about amputees. I've never heard this before. I don't know anything about it. So I'm not sure I understand it, what you were driving at.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Keep bringing your mind back to your direct experience. Bring the mind back to the self over and over again. And when you're in ignorance, I can't emphasize this enough. Ego says, resolve the struggle of ego. I need to fix this. And yoga says, drop the whole structure. Let go. Remember who you are. Nothing need change. Right here, right now, it's all okay. Be at peace. And like I like to say, it's a spiritual axiom that if I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, it's never out there. I'm the one with the attachment. I'm the one with the identification. That doesn't mean the world and its people are not oftentimes wrong and abusive. But if I'm disturbed about it, I'm the one with the attachment. I'm the one with the identification. It's so important to internalize. All right, next one. Good questions tonight.
Aham padhartasva aham idi sakshi nityam sushuptavapi bhava darshanat bhrute hyajo nitya iti shruti swayam tat pratyagatma sadala vilakshanam. But the real I witnesses the ego, etc. It is always there, even in deep sleep. It is unborn, eternal, says Shruti herself. Different, therefore, from the gross and the subtle is Paramatman.
Yes. So he's footnoting the Upanishads. So I am not the body, I'm not the feelings, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the ego sense. Now, let's refresh our memories about one of the very weird things about spiritual ignorance and egoism. The scriptures say that ignorance is beginningless. That doesn't mean it's really, really old with the Big Bang. I mean, you can say possibly that. The deeper meaning is you never see it happen. Just like a dream is beginningless. To an external person, we can say, oh, Puneet just fell asleep. Oh, there he is. His eyes are moving. He's dreaming. But inside the dream, they don't roll the credits like they do at the beginning of a movie. When you start to dream, the mind projects an unexamined, assumed cause and effect pass. There you are in San Francisco trying to find a place to park. You never think, how did I get from my bed in Oakland to San Francisco? Wait a minute, I don't even own a car anymore. Why am I driving this car? I don't live in San Francisco. Why am I looking for my house in San Francisco? These thoughts never occur. There you are driving around San Francisco trying to find a place to park in front of your house. So also with egoism, you never see the ignorance take place. Have a very deep meditation in the morning. Very clear, I am Brahman. Tripping around a house, your mind is very still, okay. Grooving. And then you walk outside and all of a sudden you never even see it. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do about that problem at work and what they're going to say about me. And then it's all so real. It's all so real. You fell asleep spiritually, and now you're dreaming the dream of egoism. Ignorance has no beginning, but it has an end. Stop it. If you can remember, if I feel like a person, I'm deluded. Stop it. Wait a minute. To whom is all this craziness occurring to me? Who am I? Oh, that's right. I'm the witnessing consciousness. All this comes about like a dream. No big deal. Don't worry. Be at peace. It's all Brahman. Over and over and over again. Let's do another.
Vikarinam sarva vikaravitta nitya vikaro bhavitum samarthi manorat swapna sushuptishtu sfutam puna punardrishtam sattvam metayoho. That which is the knower of all changes in all things which are liable to change must doubtless be eternal and changeless. Again and again, the unreality of the gross and the subtle bodies is clearly perceived in one's fancy, dream, and deep sleep.
So, if you can see it, if it is objectively apprehended, if it's subject to change, if it has a beginning and an end, if it occurs in the waking dream or deep sleep states, the past, present, or future, if it has a form of any kind, and most importantly, if it's an object of cognition in any way, gross, meaning the world of objects, or subtle, thoughts, feelings, images, memories, not real, anitya, drop it. pratibimba, just images and a reflection. Mithya, illusion. Vaitatya, false. Don't get caught up. Do one more.
Ato bhimanam tyajaman sapinde pinda bhimanenya vibuddhi kalpite kalatrayabadhya makhanda bodham nyatva swamatmana mupaihi shantim. Therefore, reject your identification with this mass of flesh and with the ego or the subtle body, of which are the imaginations of the intellect, by realizing your own self, which is absolute knowledge, which cannot be denied in the 3 periods of time, attain to the state of supreme peace.
So continue to reject your identification with the gross body and the subtle body. Do not identify with any form of self, even a good one. And instead, stay identified with the ground of being, with this space of consciousness, which will bring your mind to peace. Fear ultimately boils down to the idea, I'm not okay. I'm afraid of what's going to happen to me. And I don't know where happiness is. So egoism tries to secure self. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And happiness, it's here, it's there, it's everywhere out there. And yoga says, failing strategy to bring you peace. You don't need to try to secure yourself. Self is already secure. Can't be improved. Can't be detracted. Just is. And what is happiness? The mind freed from struggle. Choose it. I think that's enough for tonight. What's our verse for next week?
297.
297.
There's one more in this section.
All right, let's do it then.
297. Tyaja bhimanam kulagotra namam rupashrame vardha dashav trisheshu lingasya dharma napi krita tanadi tyaktva bhavakhanda sukha swarupaha. Renounce your identification with family, lineage, name, form, and order in life, attributes of the body, which is like a foul corpse. So too, renounce your ideas of agency, etc., attributes of the subtle body. Thus become the very essence of absolute bliss.
So, renouncing your identification with the body and all its relationships and identifications, attachments, job, class, etc. And renouncing the sense of agency. I am not the doer. Qualities of mind and the force of the past, guna and karma, are the doer. I do nothing. shine. I am. Stay rooted in this knowledge. Stay rooted. Okay, any questions? We've already had some very good ones.
So we're 298 next week.
Yeah, that's right.
That's correct, 298, okay. And I would suggest you not bang your head against walls. No questions? Let's sit then. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Oh, that's it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Punit.
And thank you, Punit, for chanting.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Jim.
Gute Nacht.